Call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Kildare Hills Board of Commissioners. Thank you all for joining us. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As you all know, at a lot of these meetings, and our meetings, every time we have a moment of silence at the beginning. Before we go into that, I wanted to share that a dedicated community volunteer, Jerry Farless, has passed away. Jerry was a longtime member of the Historic Landmarks Commission. He served as a chair and a vice chair, and also an alternate member on our Dangerous Animal Appeal Board. Please keep his wife, Diane, and their family in your thoughts. And we also note the passing of former Commissioner and Mayor Pro Tem Ian Coy Harbison. He was a longtime fixture in the community and advocate for Kildare Hills and its citizens. So please keep his family in your thoughts as well. Of course, it's a difficult time for folks in Israel and Gaza and a whole lot of other places around the planet. So keep those folks in your mind. And as it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we all know somebody who's struggling there as well. So keep everybody in your thoughts, and please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you so much. So we have an agenda before you. Came in your packet.
Move to approve the agenda.
We
I'll
have a
second.
motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have an agenda. First item on our agenda is public comment. As you all might know, tonight is also a public forum, which we will be doing a larger and more informal conversation about the future of the town and things that anybody wants to talk about the town towards the end of the agenda. But we also do the public comment at the beginning and the end. So lots of feedback. We like to have feedback from everyone. This is me running my mouth to give you some courage to go up there and say anything. Would anybody like to speak at public comment to start off? You're saving it for later. I get that too. Seeing nobody move, I will close public comment. So we need no response to public comment. We'll jump right into ongoing business. So we have been holding a couple spots for Community Parents Commission. So we've been thinking about appointments for a little bit of time. John, I know that you know all the folks on the committee and have been looking over some of the applications and folks that have interest in serving on the committee.
Yes, Mayor, we do have 2 open positions at this time. We had 3 good candidates who had applied and expressed interest. And after looking over things, I would like to nominate Teresa Neal and Nancy, I hope I pronounced this right, Reichenbach to the Community Appearance Commission.
Second that. Excellent. We have a motion and a second on the floor for 2 nominations for the Community Parents Commission. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Nancy and Teresa. Thank you so much for choosing to serve. Next item on here is new business. We have some history with education. Of course, I was on the school board before this and proud of the teacher housing that was built many years ago here in Kildare Hills, as well that was down in Hatteras. So was there a presentation we want to talk about it more detail?
It just as you were saying, the teacher housing that was built here back, and you were probably on the Board of Education when that was done in 2007. And if you recall, there was one additional unit or building that
Space left.
was not able to be built back in 2007 due to funding. And with the current monies that the Dare County Board has given to the I guess it's the Dare Education
Education
Foundation, will allow them to build that last building. And in 2007, the town of Kildare Hills did waive certain fees to help with the cost, and they've simply requested that for this last building. And what is in my email is an outline of the potential cost. The reason that it's kind of iffy is at this time, the engineer is not sure if it's going to have 8 units or 10 units. They're still kind of working on that, so that would make a difference in the system development fees, but it would not change the other fees.
And they
So
already
that's
built
the
all the parking as well. It's all,
Yes, sir. So that is their request, if the board would consider waiving those fees as the board back in 2007 did for this specific particular construction. This is only speaking to this teacher housing through the Dare Education Foundation.
on the one site, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, it was my recollection of that was that it was a 0% loan. You can't get a better loan than that, right? Back in the day. But
And that is an example of what has worked. It's truly,
everybody kind of
Yes.
helps out.
it truly did work. And it's been very successful, very popular, and they're certainly in need of these extra units.
They have a 25-person waiting list. So there was a time where they didn't fill them at the very, very beginning.
Right.
And they opened it up to fire and police and things like that. But now it's very much their number one tool, as I understand it, for
Yeah.
retention as well as being able to attract the best teachers to the area.
Teachers. Yes, sir.
It's a challenge.
And
So,
there's a 40, I think there's a 43 staff shortage.
right, and there's a lot of
So,
open
yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
That's right. So they need
Yeah.
all the help they can
Yeah.
get with the recruitment efforts there. So, Kildare Hills has a long history of supporting that. A lot of all these schools were built on land that originally was owned by Kildare Hills. So any other discussion about that? Or
Yes, I'm curious. Is it the county asking for this? Who is asking for this waiver?
The Dare Education Foundation.
Education Foundation.
So they're the ones that are, I've talked to someone on their board for a while, and then I talked to Charlene earlier today. So they're the ones that are actually doing the project, Dare Education Foundation. The money, the $1 million is from the county.
Okay.
Is that there? So they,
But the request is directly
Right.
from DEF.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if
from
we
the-
didn't
correct.
waive it, who would pay it?
they would have to
pay it.
fundraise.
They'd have to
It would
raise
come
it.
out
And
of
they
their-
don't have it. They would have to fundraise it.
I think it's a good thing. And not only that, but the town of Kildare Hills created the policy to do that in the past. And I think that that's a good policy to have. I'm all for it.
Right. Yeah. If I've read your note correctly, not just precedent, it's also that was sort of a policy.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, that was the statement that was made at that meeting, at that board meeting, that
It
it was
shall
waived
be
in
our policy.
2007.
Yeah.
But with it, being a different board, we felt that it should come back before you.
Sure. Sure.
I think it's a good policy.
Well, I think it's good. I just want it to be noted. I think it's another example of a Kildare Hills being, generous with housing in general.
Absolutely.
I just hope everybody takes note of that. So.
Any other thoughts?
I think everything's been well said. The word precedent has been said a few times, and this is an opportunity and a chance to kind of reinforce a really good one. So I'm happy we're able to do this.
Yeah. And I think, we are stewards of the public's tax money and all that sort of thing. But this is one of the big priorities that everybody in the community agrees upon, housing in general and teachers in particular.
Yes.
So it's widely supported by the public. All right, then.
And Debbie,
I would
they're asking for
move-
approval of the up to 10 unit. They're not, I'm assuming, not sure yet if they're going to build an 8 or 10.
That's correct.
Unit building.
So it would be not to exceed the 10 units would be the.
I saw
be
the two
request.
breakdowns. That's why I was
Mhm.
asking.
Yeah,
So,
Whichever they decide on up to the 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
All
they're
right.
still trying to work out bedrooms and how to set it up.
Whatever the best match for the
Yes,
need
sir.
is.
Mhm.
Yep.
I would move that we honor that policy that was established and that we approve this new business educator housing project not to exceed the 10 units proposed.
I'll
Does
second
that
that
cover
motion.
you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Got a motion on the floor
Second that.
and a second as well. All right. One more chance for further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all of the new business, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. Ms. Ingram, have we had a meeting that we need to know about since last time?
I have not actually. I have next
Going next week,
Next
right?
week. Steering
Alright.
committee tomorrow and then next week.
No committee
Anything from CAC?
No, sir.
A committee report.
All right. It's that time of year. Move on from committee reports to commissioners' agenda. Where I'm going to start.
I have one item. You know, you and I had discussed the possibility of having a letter under your signature to go to the county chairman, urging them to make a resolution to oppose the legislation that was put in the Senate bill. That didn't happen, and I want to try a different angle now. I would like to see a letter from the mayor from the town of Kill Devil Hills to the county chairman. And what I would like to encompass in that letter would be urging the county board of commissioners to pass a resolution to not participate in that legislation, and further to lobby to have it removed.
If I'm recalling correctly, that was in the original letter, but I'm happy to, if it's the will of the board, to bang the drum again.
Well, we had the resolution,
There was also a letter, yeah.
and
Oh,
I
thought-
don't recall a letter.
Okay.
If
Maybe I
there was,
misremembered
you
that.
need to share it with the board.
Okay, gotcha.
But at least I don't think I got one. But,
My
you know, I
recollection
think
is
that
wrote a
we
letter.
can't put enough emphasis on,
Yeah.
you know, this item. I mean, it's the dirtiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it usurps the power of this board. You know, the way I look at it is this: I was elected to represent the citizens of Kill Devil Hills, and this takes it away.
Yep.
I don't think it's fair to the citizens.
No, I think we all agree that it's patently anti-democratic, and I'm not a constitutional scholar, but it feels unconstitutional, right?
Yeah, but if you require a motion,
No, if I may interrupt you,
Sure.
excuse me. I was just talking with Michael. The letter that I think you're thinking about is the letter that went to the representatives and Commissioner Woodard with the resolution.
right now, that one.
And I
did
think
get, yeah.
what you're
That-
referring to is something that's.
This is a letter to the
To the
chairman
chairman
of the
only.
county board of commissioners
I just wanted to
urging
clarify
them
that.
Okay,
That's what
now
you're
I see
thinking
what you're
about.
saying.
to pass a resolution
And-
not to participate
Right.
in it.
Asking them to themselves.
Correct.
I think it's a good idea to get that on the record. I have spoken to him and asked him that personally, one-on-one. I also talked to Bobby Outen and found that neither of them had any appetite for that, if I was going to use a kind way to phrase that. But I'm with you. I think putting it in a letter makes it stronger and part of the public record.
Well, here's the bottom line. And I thought about it the other night during the candidates forum. And I've talked with the chairman, and he's assured me that they're not going to do anything that goes outside of our ordinances, but there's going to be another board there. And what are they going to do? But I know Ivy fought very hard to get this new ordinance that we're working on for the dune protection.
Dune protection. Mhm.
What if they decide to build one there? They just ignore it? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's the wrong thing. I just have a big problem with it, and I think we need to send a letter.
All right. Yeah. How's the rest of the board feel about that?
I'm in step with Commissioner Gray's thoughts here. I think the resolution was a start, but looking at what other towns have done, they've taken some pretty serious steps as well. And we need to let Dare County know that we're upset. We're not going to stand for this, and make as much of a statement as we can, a strong statement to show our displeasure with this ordinance, and stand up for the folks we represent.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better. So I assume you're in the same camp.
I completely agree, and to the point where I feel like we should go to the meetings even. So
All right.
yeah.
Okay. So
Thank you very
I
much.
will send you all a copy before I send it out so I can get your input.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
We've got consensus.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I think we've got kind of a good
Yes,
start
sir.
on that based on the previous letter too.
And then the only other item that I had, I wanted to just issue a reminder about the open house at the firehouse.
Yes, tomorrow night. Yeah.
Which-
we're definitely gonna mention
Chief, you
that.
want to say anything about that?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see everyone out there. Please tell your family, friends, and it's gonna be a great time.
4 to 6, is that right?
4 to 7.
4 to 7.
7.
4 to 7. Excellent. Good deal.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
Awesome. And I was thinking the wall thing. What's the date?
That is,
November.
oh yeah, that's where you're going to do the
Yeah,
drone.
gonna do
Yeah,
some drone.
that
Put in
is,
my paperwork.
It's
that's
Veterans
on
Weekend.
November the 14th.
14th. Yes.
Yep. The escort's going to be bringing it into the event site in Nags Head.
I couldn't remember if it was before or after our meeting, so I wanted to make sure. we
Pretty big
mentioned that as
thing.
well.
Pretty
Yeah, I'm
big
looking forward
thing.
to it. We'll have to coordinate me and the other drone pilots so we
Yeah,
get good
yeah.
coverage of the whole
And
thing.
thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. I'm
We
excited. to do
appreciate it. It's going to
Yeah.
be neat.
Filled out my Nags Head requires their own application about it, so I applied for the entire duration of the event from beginning to end,
Oh, cool.
daylight only. I do it at sunset, but
Good job. Well, thank you
Yeah.
again. We appreciate you doing that.
thanks. Looking forward to working with all those guys, Benny and everybody else.
Yeah.
Super. It's gonna be a great event. I can't wait to.
I think
see
it will be.
All right. Anything,
No commissioners.
commissioners?
Nothing.
Just real quick, thank the League of Women Voters for hosting our candidate forum last week. It was well attended, got a lot of good questions, and glad that our voters and us as candidates had that opportunity.
It was a great crowd that showed up. Really, great mix of folks I've known for many, many years, folks that had just moved to town, and everybody in between. And,
It's cool.
good questions all around. Just enjoyed it. I enjoyed all your answers as well. We kind of learned more about everybody's thoughts on things. So that's all the commissioners' agenda. Let me get my thing here. So that leads to the mayor's agenda. I've got a number of items that you've got in your packet here. There are some resolutions and proclamations that highlight the various issues that are affecting our community. Of course, the first honors our veterans and active service members and families, encourages everybody to go green. If you're familiar with that, that's to put a green light at your house in the beginning of November to basically support service members as they transition out of the military into regular life. You know, that can be a stressful time and difficult transition for some folks. So we want to, as a community, support that transition and help them back into regular life after deployments or whatever they might have seen during active service. So my father was career Army, and so this is near and dear to my heart. So I hope you'll support me on that resolution, as well as we've got some other resolutions that express the board's position on the local government planning and zoning authority and our opposition to federal changes that would negatively affect local watermen who've been, we've approved these already through electronic consensus, but this will put this in the record for us. And that was requiring some of these fishermen to pay for monitoring that has been formally paid for out of government money. And it would be a real hardship for those guys and gals to have to pay for that. It's over $1,000 every trip out. So it seems pretty unreasonable. And I think we're all in support of that. As well. So I recommend approval of these items, and I'll make the motion that we adopt all three of them.
I'll second.
Got a second from Ms. Ingram. Any further discussion on those? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you so much for your support on those. Of course, we mentioned the fire open house already. That's 4 to 7, Station 14. And
Good chance to get with the number one of 20 of the best rate fire departments in the state. of
that's
North
right, one of the
Carolina.
best departments in the state. We got to
Yeah.
toot that horn whenever we can. We're very proud of those guys for that amazing accomplishment. Can't sing your praises enough for it. Thank you for bringing that up. That's great. So that is the mayor's agenda. Next item is the town manager's agenda.
No, sir, nothing this
Nothing there.
evening.
How about the town attorney?
And Mayor, I will note that, and there's been an article published about it, but speaking back to the legislation concerning affordable housing, our lawsuit, which we joined in along with the other municipalities here in Dare County, has been filed. And hopefully we do have someone on the ground in Raleigh. It's actually the lawyer that generally gets appointed by the League of Municipalities to do different things for us in the event. We are defendants in a lawsuit. But they're on the ground there, and we'll be pursuing an injunction shortly. I'll update you as I receive information concerning that. But the idea of the injunction would be to essentially hold that law in abeyance until such time as a judge actually rules on the validity of it, because obviously that's what we're attacking on several different
It's
grounds.
not valid, yeah.
So if that were to be granted, any form of applications that come in during that time would not be subject to the law, or I'm sorry, to the new bill
To the new, yeah.
in the event we get the injunction. So we'll certainly keep you updated on that in that regard.
I know it's impossible to predict with any accuracy, but yeah, can you give us a general idea how long these things take to unfold?
The preliminary injunction, that's going to go ahead, it's filed along with the complaint itself. Essentially now it's just calendaring it in front of Wade County. That situs was picked for various reasons, but this is the type case that essentially is going to require a 3-judge panel. Once that's done, then we can move forward, set it for hearing. The preliminary injunction hearing is essentially just saying, give us an opportunity to sort this out
Before
until such
putting it in
time as
effect.
we're dumped with trying to enforce it and or time to show that it's not a valid law.
So ballpark, 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months?
Hopefully we'll know something on the injunction within a month, within the month, I'm hoping.
Okay,
So,
good to know.
and it helps having somebody up there in Raleigh that's on the ground for us. So
Yeah, the league definitely has some good folks. Good to have them playing that role.
And
Thanks-
Mayor,
thanks for
again,
the update.
it helps to have somebody on the ball here too.
It's true. That's true.
And we thank you.
and credits to the other attorneys as well. They did a lot of, many of us saw this one coming before any of us did, I think. And, they worked hard as well. So
We
absolutely.
sure
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you being on top of it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and talking with the mayors, I could tell that was the path through the attorneys.
It's the
Network.
It's the most sure path if we're able to succeed on our injunction. That's for sure.
Well, thanks again on behalf of the board for your work on that. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it. All right. Next is consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Items on the consent agenda this evening is the minutes from the September 11th, 2023 board meeting. Have the August 2023 monthly report. Have a partnership report from Nags Head Woods Ecological Preserve. This is a requirement of the partnerships that they do provide us with an annual report. Erin McCall, the Northeast Regional Steward, has submitted the facility's 22-23 annual report, which highlights the preserve's operation. Have public hearing scheduling for 2 items. The first item is a zoning amendment request. This is commercial zone site requirement exemptions, previously platted used as an exception to minimum lot size requirement. This proposed amendment would have allowed use listed on an original site plan to be exempt from the commercial zone site requirement for a minimum lot area of 15,000 square feet. The planning board has forwarded this to the Board of Commissioners with a unanimous recommendation for denial. Staff also recommends the denial. The second public hearing would be a site plan for special use. This is Bermuda Bay. It's an amended site plan for a covered pavilion with storage because it is a special use that does require the public hearing. The public hearing would be for the enclosure, for the storage, and then for the pavilion, which was an addition to the Somerset apartment buildings. Staff recommends scheduling the 2 public hearings for Monday, November the 13th at 2023 at 6 p.m. and approval of the consent agenda would place these items for public hearing. And then lastly, to reiterate back what the town attorney was speaking to was the legislative restrictions on zoning response. And this will record the Board of Commissioners' direction to the manager and the attorney to join the other Dare County municipalities in a filing of a legal complaint with regard to the legislation. And approval of the consent agenda will record the board's actions in the minutes of this meeting. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second already. Any other questions or thoughts or discussion before? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay.
Thank you very
Motion
much.
carries. Thank you for that. Well, we're moving right along, and we've gotten ourselves to our public forum. As I mentioned earlier, public forum we do twice a year. This is our fall version. We also have one in the spring, but we like to give our constituents and our stakeholders and anybody else who's interested in the future of Kildare Hills a chance to open a dialogue and tell us what you have to say and think about. Thank you, sir. About what we should be focusing on, what we should have attention to, and maybe things that we might not have heard about so far, or even if things that we have. So I don't think we've had anybody sign up, so it's really kind of open discussion. I see somebody making a motion. Why don't you kick us off? Yeah, if you speak at the microphone, that way we can record it. It's a little easier to take the notes later.
Thank you. Test 1, 2. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I thought I would be on the agenda because I did sign through the internet, so I'm not sure if it
Okay.
came in.
Good.
However, Mr. Mayor and Board of Commissioners, my name is Matt Jamer. I am a homeowner here in Kildare Hills for some 26 years now. And actually, I'm a homeowner pretty much right across the street on Oregon Avenue. So I'm from Midlothian, Virginia, and it's Chesterfield County. And I'm been very, very active with the Board of Supervisors up there volunteering. I'm actually an election official there right now. And as you know, we have some important elections coming up in the next few weeks, as I'm sure you all agree. So, the reason I was here was basically I submitted something online in reference to at the end of the street near a new parking area has been paved over there in the spring or right before the summertime on East Oregon Avenue, which is pretty much a big public access. And actually, they left a bunch of concrete and sand there, and it's been there all summer. So I actually went into the online, and then I called up to see if that was going to go through to all of you. And I talked to a lady, and she actually referred me to Mr. Domsky. Mr. Domsky, actually, I talked to him, and the people actually were there about an hour later and removed that. And they actually beautified a little bit of the sand there onto the beach. So I wanted to just say thank you for that. Those are pretty quick actions to your department. So kudos to him. Why I'm here, I might as well actually ask you a few things in reference to East Oregon Avenue, which is it's a pretty big public access versus the lifeguard station. Crossing over, there's a lot of people that go to that gas station, the mini mart there, and people cross over there. I was wanting to know if it's possible to have thick white lines going over there. We try to get over. Fortunately, most people are pretty considerate when we cross the streets during the summertime, so they stop. But still, there's a lot of people that are crossing over there. So I just asked that. It's a good possibility that, thick white lines and people might slow down there because people do race up there. Okay. The other thing is here, I'm a proud neighbor of Rob Uri. Mr. Uri is a resident here for many, many years. And we're just considering trying to beautify that entrance of the beach. He mentioned something on Prospect Street that was done. I haven't seen that, so I apologize for that and not seeing it. So that's something that we're considering of beautifying that area. It does have a shower, but at the shower you just plop back into the sand after you shower. So other than that, I'm just concerned as a resident. Well, I'm not really a resident here. I'm a part-time resident. Of the building and the growth is just phenomenal. And the planning commission and how you plan these things. I see next to Target, there's a piece of parcel there, and now you have row housing there that's going up there. And my partner and I, she was talking about the housing that is on Beach Road, where these new homes are going up and they're right next to each other. I was just kind of considering and very, very concerned about the planning commission and what's being authorized and approved. It's of course I've been here for 26 years. Of course that was when it was a prairie, but I am very, very concerned about the overcrowding, and I'm not sure how we can stop that by what it is zoned as housing or zone 1A, 1-2, 1-3, etc. So that's my comments, and hopefully I'll meet you after here. It's been great to be here.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
pretty
you so
quick
much.
meeting too. So, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Usually when we have public comment, we don't kind of do a back and forth, but because this is a forum, we could certainly address some of those things right now.
Yeah.
Those going kind of backwards. Well, actually, before I forget, Oregon Avenue, great place in my heart. I actually got married at the end of that street there in that house on the end. So yeah, good spot. Like that neighborhood. Yeah. What's small originally, right? Yeah, as seems to happen. But wanted to address the houses that are close together that you were talking about. The best laid plans of mice and men. We have for many years heard folks say, I sort of shocked at how big these houses have become. You've probably heard that every year since 1980. I remember the first 6-bedroom houses went up. They seemed shockingly big, and then there were 8, and then there were 10. Kill Hills kind of has a unique challenge in that a lot of these rules were made long ago. We have lots of ways to keep density down by having side yard setbacks and front yard setbacks and backyard setbacks and height limits. Got to have septic and repair area and parking. All those things limit the size of houses so you don't end up with the Jersey Shore where houses are touching each other. That said, most lots are only 15,000, 20,000 square feet, but when they're 50 feet wide and 800 feet deep, I think that founding fathers of the town years ago couldn't quite imagine that someone would go to the maximum at all those other dimensions. So there was a group that said no more mini motels. Remember those signs for a little while? So we all know what the challenge is. That it's not exactly what we'd like to see. And we've worked that challenge for many years of trying to figure out how to mitigate that, how to stop it. Top line is that when if you were to just say, oh, you can only build, you can't legislate bedrooms anymore. The state took that away. If you did a square footage limit, say, if it took away a significant value of what that property owner could put on the property, taking away their value, they could sue and they would very much likely win. So we're stuck with all of the things we can get in around the edges. So we've been very successful as a board, being creative and trying to find ways to make them safer and also minimize their size. One was to add a provision a year or two ago that required more of a setback if they were over a certain size. And we balanced that out with that being on the basis of safety for fire. But to back that up, we said, well, if you put in a sprinkler system, you could have that same, the original setback. And so the net effect of that is that all of those large houses now are getting sprinklers put in them, which was not something that we could ever required, but we were able to incentivize it. So to jump to your cottage court comment, I think we were all sort of surprised at what it looked like, because on paper, it sounds like a great idea. We said, well, let's see if we can bring back the cottage court. Everybody likes cottage courts. They're cute. But in order for it to be desirable, it has to be at least as economically viable as one of those big houses. So we worked that out. That does end up making them close together, but developers figure out, yeah, if you go up, park underneath, get even more, where all those big houses are usually on the ground. So they don't look quite as big. They look big, but they're back away from the road. And now we've taken that bulk and spreaded it all out. So yeah, aesthetically, not how anybody sort of expected it. So we've actually taken that back to the planning board, and we're looking at new at ways to adjust that provision so that we won't have those new aesthetic issues that we're not really in the business of. You can't actually tell people, I don't like how your house looks, right? We can't actually legislate the aesthetics, but we can try to figure out how to have something that's not a parked cruise ship and not something like that that's towering over you on the beach road. So we are working on that, and we're open to everybody's feedback on ways to do that doesn't reduce the value of the people's property, but also gets that desired outcome that we're hoping for, because we want to preserve the look and feel of our town. And how'd I do, guys? That cover that base pretty well? I mean to hold,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
hold
jump
the
in
mic
on a
to
couple of the comments. Thank you for sharing the story about the quick response for the cleanup along Oregon Avenue, the cement and the
Yeah.
sand.
that.
Those are the standards we always maintain for residents when they have an issue or concern they bring to us. We were able to answer the phone when they call, put a quick response together, and really, when problems happen, we clean them up quick. And that's universal feedback. We're proud of that. I think you mentioned the desire on Highway 12 and Oregon Avenue, a crosswalk. Is that what I understood? Beach Road. I guess that's more of a DOT thing, but we could potentially write a letter or just do a study. We've had a lot of success up and down with getting our crosswalks lit with those LED lights, especially that are motion activated at night. So that's been a good safety feature without kind of hindering traffic at all. So that's something we can look into. You mentioned beautification of Oregon Inlet Beach access like Prospect Avenue. Are you referring to the restroom facility that was built about 4 or 5 years ago, or something else along Prospect?
I believe he's referring, I mentioned to him that they had built the restrooms along there and really looked nice. I'm not on that.
Oh, this is
It's pretty open.
this is free for all.
Flexible.
Yeah. All we ask you to do is use nice language, and you're going to be just fine. We did a detailed feasibility study before we built the Prospect Avenue bathroom. I don't know if that's something we would, if one would even fit on.
And we
Oregon.
are in process right now of updating and combining the recreation and the shoreline access plan, working with Ross on both of those. Cameron and I are both working on it, and we hope to be able to present it to you guys spring with what we really can, so that we can get our grants in line for that. Most of them are due in August and September. And that'll give us an idea of what we can fit at Oregon and what we can fit at all the various accesses and what your options are. So that's our, that's where we are right now. And Oregon was not on that specific list at the time, but I don't know that that was in the target range of where the board was looking to try to do it.
Mhm.
So, but we're going through that process right now, and the crosswalk doesn't need to be part of that process, but the larger improvements,
Do.
if you could give us just a little bit more time, hopefully we'll bring you something magnificent.
That's great. It's just that, if you rushed off, it's just you back into the files. So, and I hate to recognize some of the beach accesses and access where you just come off. Granted, well, a lot of those are boardwalks or stairs that go over the things. Which have a wash facility, which is actually kind of convenient. So,
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of trying to take that water and put it to some plants that will grow, because we see it running down the road. You're like,
most people don't really use that shower that much. Just
Yeah.
for the mere fact that they wash off the chair or something. You wash your feet back in the sand.
walk right back in the sand. Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely been advocating for years to sort of allocate a little bit more money and time to maintenance, as well as just keeping the sand off the pavement and edging and things like that, just to improve the look. We've been a country spot for a long time, but we've got
This-
plenty of room to.
This is an unimproved access.
Yeah, I know,
This is
yeah.
a footpath only
Yeah.
access. It's we did do, I think that Ross this spring put some concrete where the used to be sand parking. It's primarily used as an emergency beach access. It's quite a long walk. Y'all are,
That's good.
It's a hike over that hill.
Put a blue mat down if you want to.
Yeah. It's a lot of,
but and that's why that you're standing in the sand, because it's considered an unimproved
Unimproved.
access at this point.
We like our
It's green.
Yes.
That's good.
yeah, we like it when the dunes grow. That's a really good thing around here. The dunes will accrete. Big fan of accreting.
In reference to beautifying some of the Kildow Hills businesses, like the bicycle shop, how do do we?
How do we encourage them to be a good
How do we
neighbor?
put pressure on the owner to beautify that place up? It's just like, it's been there for, he's got a heck of a business. You want any kind of bicycle, they're very, very expensive. You know, they're technicians, they're phasers. But you know, the place is just nice.
It's not winning any awards, no. It's not winning any beautification award.
Now, you don't want to take a picture of them. So I was just kind of curious on some of these things, on what the town can do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not coming up with any good ideas though.
Well, I think the CAC is kind of, I mean,
That's true.
it doesn't, we can't
Force anyone.
force anyone, but the Community Appearance Commission does give awards for businesses. So that is
Incentive.
something that maybe we could do, is maybe publicize that a little bit more, or,
And most
I mean, I
improved,
know.
he's got a big chance at most
There are-
improved. You
yeah.
don't have to
Yeah, we
start all the way over here.
Send the chairman to see.
the Community Appearance Commission, we have our biannual Community Appearance Awards. We recognize kind of the best in class and then most improved. A lot of times that is a remodel of an older building or something along those lines. But we did start a program where we had staff draft a very diplomatically written letter for some businesses that we felt may need that type of encouragement, to deliver it in the kindest and warmest way possible. So some CAC members have done a little bit of that sort of networking, because everybody has a few places in town that they really like, and then people may have a few places that they're not so fond of. And so our commission has been active in kind of in the most positive, polite terms possible, and people know that, hey, take a little pride in your business, and it can look a little bit nicer, and we all do better that way.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, the government, us, the town beautifying as sort of an inspiration to things around it. Like we added funding in the budget this year, 2023, 24, to do more mowing on the bypass and more edging of the sidewalks, because it's so quick that it kind of grows back over. And I grew up on military bases where everything is exactly a straight line and everything is spick and span every second. So for whatever reason, it gets to me. So I'm glad to see that happening. I think that those are the kinds of things that encourage people to take better care of their own property when the right of way looks nicer. And I think that's the same thing about spending a little money on beautification of the beach accesses. We've got a lot of beautiful plants at a lot of them, but I could see, we're putting mulch out here in the courtyard. We've got election coming up. We want to look good when everyone comes by here to vote. But we certainly have opportunities to beautify the beach accesses, and there's a business that's right next to a beach access. So if it looked really nice next to it, maybe you'd feel uncomfortable at the juxtaposition. So yeah, I do know him personally, so I'll go give him a hard time for it.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. So, everybody has their different priorities. I was big on beautifying my property when I had a business, and I thought of it as the best money you could spend for advertising. If it looks nice, people turn in. Seems obvious to me, but not everybody. Yeah.
People drive by and they probably say,
Yeah, it doesn't look like a going concern from the outside. But
yes,
yeah, he sells a lot of bikes, basically.
He does.
thank you.
His ears are burning now. He's gonna watch this on YouTube. Again. Oh my gosh, talking about me. Would somebody else have a hand up? Yeah, go ahead, please.
My name is Dennis Pohl. I'm a homeowner in Wright Shores. I want to thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to express a few thoughts. First of all, a response to your crosswalks. We worked with the North Carolina Department of Highways and started in May. And in September, they actually put the crosswalks in and signs. So you might want to go ahead and contact them. But I think we've had a good year for Kill Devil Hills with beach use, visitations up, revenues up, a lot of things. And the season's pretty much over with. So I think maybe we should address some things maybe that we can do to improve some of the beach accesses. And I wrote a few thoughts down so I wouldn't get off on a tangent and We've only got about 120 of them, so if you got no, just a few, so I wouldn't forget. But in April of this year, I think it was April, the town actually condemned the 4th Street beach access walkway. They said it was unsafe, so they closed it off for a while. And then a few weeks later, after that, they went ahead and took the boardwalk out, the walkway, and made it a sand thing. So my question is, I would like to know if there is a plan, and if there is, when this walkway will be replaced on the 4th Street beach access. Again, when you go to the beach, when you take your friends, your family, and everybody, and you go to the beach, I think one of the considerations is you're looking for somewhere where you go to the bathroom, porta john, if you will, in a shower. I know you said you had a shower, even though you're not crazy about it, but you have a shower where you can wash off. On the beach access on 4th Street and 5th Street, there is no showers and no facilities to go to the bathroom. And as far as I've been here, in which has been quite a while, there never has been. And yet, I've been told that this is the 4th and 5th Street beach access is probably the widest part of the beach in Kill Devil Hills. And we frequent it, my visitors frequent it. There's a lot of people that go there. And I've talked to different people on the beach at times. And one of the big questions is, in addition to how nice the beach is, which it is, but one of the big questions is, where do I go to the bathroom? And that would be for 4th and 5th Street. And my response is, you might have a problem, because on 4th Street, you have the Jolly Roger restaurant. They certainly don't want you going in there from the beach. They want you to participate in there and buying food there. On 5th Street, you have Target. That's a pretty big hike. And it's kind of embarrassing, I think, for some people to go into the bathrooms there in their beach attire. Plus, it's a little ways. Only other option is go back to your house.
Sorry about that.
Now, for Wright Shores, it's not that far for us. For some of the people there that are on New Bern, who are visitors and owners, they have to truck back up to wherever they are to go to the beach. So I would like to know if there's any way where it can be looked into to have a porta john put on 4th and 5th Street beach access in the summer. I've gone through those accesses quite a few times. I think there is an area to do that without much trouble. In addition to that, the possibility of having showers put there. I was told, well, there's a problem with showers because of the water. Well, all of the houses along the ocean, they've got water, and they evidently have pipes going to their houses running across Route 12, the beach road, to access that water. So I would like to know if it's feasible to have that done. Showers. When you go to the beach, unless it's 4th and 5th Street beach access, there's a lot of showers there. And I've witnessed through the years many, many times, although there are showers, which are nice, people don't turn them off, believe it or not. But they don't turn the showers off, or they leave them halfway off. A tremendous waste of water, I think, through the whole town of Kill Devil Hills has had because of that happening. In addition to that, I guess it must be something going on, because a lot of times you'll go there and the shower heads are missing. They were put on in the springtime, but I don't know whether it's an item that people like to take home for souvenirs or whatever, which makes it difficult to use the showers. Unless you're on 4th and 5th, you don't have that problem because you don't have showers. So I was wondering if the town could look into a way of saving a lot of water. And one of the ways I think is I've gone to different beaches up and down the coast, and also down at Coquina Beach with the National Park Service, Cape Hatteras National Seashore. They have a type of shower, you have to push the button.
Yep.
And when you push that button, it shuts off. It's They're probably fairly expensive units, but I think if that would be looked into and the town could place one, at least one, maybe at 4th and 5th Street, beach access, to try and determine whether that is really would conserve water, which I think would. And I think that the payback would be relatively soon on that, because I think the thing is that it's there to wash yourself off. If you're at the beach or if you're going home and trying to get the salt water off, they're not where you turn something on and you're underneath it for a long time, and then you don't turn it off or don't turn it off all the way. So, and if you go to a lot of these beach access, I think you'll agree, a lot of times you'll see so much water being wasted. So I just wondered if it would be possible to have the town look into the aspect of getting a more efficient multi-shower system. One where you push the button, rinse off, wash off. When you take the button off, the water stops. One of the things, because I don't want to run you too late, because I know you want to get home to your families. I was just wondering what the stance is for Kill Devil Hills for motorized vehicles on the multi-use path on Bay Drive, Canal, and First Street. I've experienced, because I walk that path quite a bit, I've experienced people with go-karts, people with electric bikes, which probably go faster than my vehicle does. And I'm just wondering, I'm not saying they should not be allowed to use the path. I'm just wondering what the stance is. Because if the stance from Kill Devil Hills is that motorized vehicles are not permitted, then that should be enforced. If they are permitted, then that's not a problem. So thank you. I hope I clearly let you know what I thought, and appreciate any answers that you have.
Thank you.
Excellent feedback. Yeah, we've touched on all these topics over the years, and I want to take the mic. So, does anybody want to take it?
I'll go. I'll start off with the motorized and electric vehicles on the multi-use path, because that's something that we've recently looked into. And Meredith, I don't know if you remember this email, but I believe the state of North Carolina does not consider electric vehicles as motorized. Is that correct?
That's going to be the police department. So I'm going to turn that over to Assistant Chief Harris. That's
AC.
okay.
Bicycles, and the state has declared rule that the electric assisted bikes are bicycles, so they're not considered a motor vehicle by state law.
But a golf cart
Is a motor
is,
vehicle, right? but
and a
it's not-
moped.
is a motor vehicle. It's not a motor vehicle by state law, but we have put it into our ordinances that it can't be allowed on the bike paths.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, did you say that those are allowed, scooters are allowed?
That's what, yes, sir. The ones that actually are gas powered are not. But as long as they're electric, they're considered a bicycle by state law.
That kind of makes it very difficult to enforce a lot of the electric vehicles, because what we're looking at now is trying to find ways to have a safe integration of all as possible, because the state definition of electric vehicle as a traditional pedestrian vehicle, it doesn't give our law enforcement a lot of ability to enforce those sorts of things. So maybe a signs or some sort of public information process that are really easy to read at a glance to encourage people who are on the electric vehicles going too fast to, be extra sensitive and aware of traditional pedestrian folks, and give them plenty of leeway. If they're going to be going faster than everybody else, stay off the multi-use path and use the road. But my concern is let's let staff take their time to develop something that is, on brand and on safe, and maybe potentially be adopted by other municipalities in their county that have like more of a uniform message, because electric vehicles they've exploded in popularity in the last few years. It's kind of something that snuck up on us, and it's hard to kind of get our heads around it and react to it. So we have to follow the letter of the law, but also encourage safe practice, because Bay Drive is like a dream come true for electric pastors. They can zip up in and about through town with relative ease and comfort. So, that's a tough one. We're working on it, and
John, I don't see it as a problem. I just wanted to know what the stance was.
Yeah.
And now that I know that, at this point, I don't have a problem with it. But I know there's people that I've walked with, there are other people that are walking down, and like anything else, if you get a group of people on electric bikes, it could be crazy, but for the most part, I think people follow the rules that they should follow around that. But I just wanted to know what the stance was. Appreciate that. Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
And anytime you have any other questions, Mike, stop by my office.
All right.
Yeah, we're definitely in an era of adoption of new technology. There's a kind of growing pains of. I think that if you could flash forward 5 years or 10 years in the future, that there would be sort of norms that develop over what is polite and what is not polite. Whizzing by somebody at 25 miles an hour, a few inches from them without saying anything, it's kind of rude, not to mention dangerous.
Yes.
And that there'll be social stigma against, operating in a dangerous fashion, more so than the police enforcing it, making it happen. It's more like get that evil glare from everybody long enough. Okay,
Peer pressure.
take it down a notch there, buddy. But yeah, we definitely hear about it a lot, and it's a concern. I'm so sorry. I have my ringer off, but I have these alarms set for some event, which was not tonight. So I'm sorry about that. It's trying to tell me to come on a meeting. Anyway, let's see. What you were also talking about beach access to 4th Street, and I think Meredith alluded to the fact that we, are trying to more formalize our capital improvement plans and a long-range plan about
Recreation
looking
plan.
at all the beach access and
Recreation plan.
what
They're going to combine.
what our priorities are. What we have 20-something beach accesses, and which one are we going to do in what order? We kind of look at it all as a holistic, but unimproved. Got nowhere to go but up, right? Yeah. And then showers. I'm a big fan now. I think anybody who's been here 30 years plus knows that there was a time where there were hardly any showers, and we've added them slowly over time. And for a long time, there were no bathrooms, and then there was the one. Now there's two.
And we have porta johns at most of our larger, they have to be able to be serviced.
Yeah, a lot of it's about getting the vehicle in there.
One of the challenges we have with 4th being not there and 5th,
So small.
it's very small, and the way that the vehicles park there, because it's technically not a parking access at this time, makes
many
it very
spots?
difficult for it to be to service.
How many spots are there?
It depends on how people park. I would say between 3 and 6.
Yeah. So, yeah. 5th. That's my. Everybody
Home break.
adopts their. Yeah. Everybody
Home
adopts
break.
their own beach access. That's been my beach access since I've lived here. I know what you're saying. You can only fit 5, 6, and then if a truck was to come in and pick the porta john up or need to, there's really no room for that to happen during the day if there's 6 or 7 cars.
And we
parked
learned
there.
through Beach Nourishment that people use 5th Street all day and night. Sunrise, moonrise,
Yeah, it's the best.
all day. There's traffic.
It's the best
And that
beach.
access when we close it to do Beach Nourishment, it's one of our staging areas.
You
It
will
is.
not have-
Well, I mean, they let the pedestrians go through, and the contractors are always like, it's amazing how many people come through 5th Street at all hours when they need to bring in big equipment. They try to do it at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They said, too late.
There's already people
It's
in
just
and
too
out.
late. There's already people going out there to watch the sunset. It's a very popular pedestrian access for that neighborhood behind it.
Yeah, Avalon has got, how many streets is that? 10? A lot of streets and a lot of small houses all close together, 5,000 square foot lots. So you probably have more humans trying to get to that beach access than a lot of these much bigger accesses. It just happens to be that it's a small access.
Right, 5th Street is popular beach access, wide beach, like you said there.
Wide beach, a lot
And
of
it's
people live
serving
there.
it's serving a lot of a large area. So yeah, so that's
Yeah,
tough.
I kind of disagree with that because I just had my septic tank pumped, and when they pumped it, they couldn't really get in the driveway from the road. That hose was long enough to went to my backyard.
Sure.
In 5th Street.
You saying you could pump the porta john out from the road?
I don't see why not.
They would block the
We
road.
block the
NC
road.
12.
Okay. One of the things I was said, what
It was
told
nice.
me about this street is it uses emergency access. Okay, so the vehicles, let's say a fire truck or, EMS, they can get in there. There's enough room with cars in there, they can get in there. And I don't think that, I haven't seen the vehicles that you use to work with the Porta Johns. But I don't see any reason why a Porta John truck can't pull in there. And whether the Porta John is at the beginning of where those spots are, the end of the spots, there's a place where a little bit of sand could be taken out there, it could be put there, why they can't access it.
Yeah, it could be cleaned up. I feel like it could be cleaned up and made a little wider, but yeah.
But I really don't see that, happening. On Fourth Street, the Porta John could be closer to the road.
4th Street though, that's a path. That's more or less like a path.
There's no actual-
There's no
It
parking.
is now.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be. In April, the town declared
Yeah.
unsafe and tore the walkway out.
Right.
So there was a walkway there. There
Right.
isn't now.
There's
That's
no
why-
wood. There's no wood there anymore.
That's why my question was, is there a plan to put that walkway back in, and if so, when?
That's what we're doing in the spring.
We're working on the shoreline access
I
plan
used to
update.
Yeah.
It's
And it, they were unsafe.
The 4th Street has been in,
Disrepair.
it's been band-aided for quite some time. It suffered, I'm not sure exactly what storm it was, but it got replaced and repaired, and then it's been repaired and repaired to the point that the dune ate the walkover completely. So then there was just a wooden walkover that sort of went up the dune, but then the dune ate it, and then they kept repairing it and repairing it. It finally got to the point that they couldn't repair it anymore. It was unsafe. They closed it and removed it for safety reasons.
Right.
The portion that's under the dune is still under the dune. We didn't disturb the dune. And what the plan was to keep it open and accessible. It is purely a pedestrian access. It has no parking available. It is a neighborhood pedestrian access. And to keep the sand path open for people to be able to still use it as an access, and then address any future improvements when we do our shoreline access
Shoreline
update,
access
which
plan.
is what we're working on now.
But there's
Yeah.
nothing designating the sides of the path or anything. Just like it's just beat.
It
down.
was just a wooden path with handrails before.
Okay, but as of right now, there's nothing designated. So it could all grow over potentially. It's not
Yes.
being kept.
Well,
Okay.
there's actually quite a big distance between the road and where the dune is.
Yeah.
There is a
Yes.
pretty
I've been
big-
on it a few times. I didn't know.
In addition to that,
Yeah.
there is parking next to the Jolly Roger, which is 14 parking. So it's not strictly residential parking, or not residential access. Would you agree with that?
It has no parking for the access. The access does not have on-site parking.
On the east side of 12.
There's some on-street parking that is in the area, but is not designated beach access parking like some of our other accesses that have.
Between the
Parking.
highways parking.
There's nothing east side of
Here's
12,
a-
I guess.
Why isn't it designated that way? Because 4th Street runs right alongside the Jolly Roger. I know that some years ago, the Jolly Roger put up signs, Jolly Roger parking only. But I've asked a number of people with the town, and that parking does not belong to Jolly Roger. That parking is part of 4th Street. It is public parking. I think, am I correct in that?
You're correct.
Okay, so there is parking for visitor use for the access, correct?
It's considered, yes, you can use it for the access.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's nothing on the east side. I know what you're saying though. There's nothing on the
But
east side.
it's not dedicated for the access.
No,
Right.
sir.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Before you started this group, which is great, I was interested in this many times. I'm an attorney. I've looked at the development, the 5th Street, of all of it, the 4th Street access, if I may. I've looked at all that. So I find it interesting, the whole, the way it works.
One
And
of the
right
points of
shores.
interest too is there's a association, the Right Shores Association, which is a nonprofit. There are 2 parking areas. One is up this street. It's actually at this street next to Target. The other one is on 4th Street next to Target John and Roger. There's a lot of people that have joined that association for a small fee. A lot more people have and will be using the access on 4th Street. That's why it's also a concern. That's why there was an effort to made to the transportation department to put crossing and to put signs there, which have been done.
Very good job getting that done. I watched it. It was impressive. But and like I said, I've thought about this exact thing before you started this group 20 years ago when I first moved there. So I get it. And you're an advocate for it. Like we're all advocates for our beach access that we prefer. I prefer it as well. So you have a board member that lives there. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we want to make them all as big and nice and luxurious as we can. There's some limitations, but yeah, I'm partial to those beach access as well.
So that's, you know, to answer my question, are you saying that 4th and 5th Street, there will not be a Porta John? There's no possibility that the Porta John will be put there, or no possibility of showers being put there? I mean,
4th, I can't see anything at 4th, right? There's not like there's not a landing space, but 5th Street, you know, maybe, I don't know. If it allows for it, we would, you know, we're always open to it. We're not against it.
I think it all hinges on the shoreline access plan, how that's developed, and you know, because it's prioritized as far as the development of the accesses. And
We try to use the money efficiently, so the highest and best use, and the thing that has most bang for the buck, and we do it kind of in that order.
And the goal of the town has always been to provide as many facilities at our beach accesses
right,
as is feasible. And that's
correct.
what will be presented to this board in the plan. If it will fit, we will try to put it there.
and during that process, there's plenty of opportunity for public input, is there not?
We'll be bringing it to you
Yeah.
for y'all to
Okay,
be able to,
so you can have public input during the process prior to approval.
Yep.
So, but I think
I'll say
plan
one
is
thing.
what-
When will that occur?
In the spring sometime.
I'll say one thing about this
They're
board.
going to bring the plan to us sometime this spring.
Okay.
I'll say one thing about this board, if I may. If it makes sense and makes sense and we can do it, we will do it. So I think I believe in that. So
Part of the same
no one's
thing.
against it.
The question for the walkway to be replaced, is there anything in the works, or is that part of this plan that you're talking about that's going to be presented in spring, to have that walkway replaced?
it's my understanding, and I could very well, it's not particularly my department, but it's my understanding that most of our improvements, unless they're maintenance, will wait for the plan so that we can make decisions based on all 30-some beach accesses that we have and have the board prioritize them.
But that will be in the plan.
The 4th Street access will be in the plan.
The 4th Street,
But we
it is
don't
a
know
public
what will
access.
be in the plan for the 4th Street access.
And I don't know how the board will prioritize the recommendations that come from the plan. That will be something
I kind of
that's
see it
discussed in a
similar
meeting.
to the streets plan. We have
Correct.
a streets plan where we rate all the streets, and the ones that are in the most need get repaired first and move from the poor to the fair poor, and try to make the list shorter as you go. So I think it'll
Yeah.
be sort of the same sort of thing. Like there's opportunities to add capital improvements to all 30 of these things, and which investments would you like to do first? Because we can't do them all at once. You know, we'll have some money allocated each year and kind of make a long-term plan for it.
I'm curious if you brought up the plan, but that's presented to the board in spring. When decisions are made, will they be implemented for the beach use for 2024?
This would probably be a long-term document that's sort of a planning document that probably would change over time, but yeah, nothing's allocated in the 2023, 2024 budget. Nothing new will be added to it. It'll be really about the 24, 25 budget for the next time that we would be looking at those, you know, big capital expenditures.
I'm sorry, I'm probably keeping it longer than I should, but because you said that each beach access is reviewed every year, am I correct in that assumption? Every beach access is
Our buildings
reviewed.
and grounds reviews every access for safety and make sure they're maintained properly.
Do they do that? Do they also, when they go ahead and assess it, Did they assess it and what improvements can be made or what?
No,
they
sir.
recommend? Okay. So this has never been presented before for porta johns or for showers in Fourth and Fifth Street beach access? It's never been in the plan.
Not by this board, but maybe previous boards years
No,
and years
I'm
ago.
talking about the plan,
It's not in the
whoever
plan.
does
No.
the plan.
No.
It's never been.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming it will be reviewed this time. Is that correct? As far as the feasibility of showers and porta johns?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought I'd get up since Matt referred to me as a full-time resident on the street. But I've been coming, my mom and dad bought the house in 1980, so I've
Nice.
seen Oregon change quite a bit. And I've had some work experience here at the Outer Banks. That I had a job with R.A. Hoy closing building permits. So I called it the Outer Banks House Tour. And I got to visit each municipality on the beach. And it was interesting as I was going through each one. You know, I'd go through Corolla, I'd go through Duck, Kitty Hawk, Nag's Head, and I'd make these opinions of how I thought they were run. And I'll be quite honest, I always thought Nag's Head had a little bit more on the ball. I couldn't figure out why. But, you know, that was part like Matt referred to. They have very nice access. They've also somehow been able to hold the McMansions in check for some reason. I don't know why.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, we know
I'll
what.
tell you why that. Right? You want to
Yeah,
give.
we all know.
It has to
that.
do with the septic
Ah,
system
well.
and the lot size. Two things.
There's a lot of different.
There's,
Those are
there's
the
a
two
lot of
main
reasons.
Yeah,
There's-
I mean,
there's
They also
other
made some
reasons.
ordinances that turned out to be not legal. They had to
But
go
it
back
was
on those.
interesting
There's at least three
listening
things.
to the mayor's
Oh,
speech about how we are looking at controlling them. I felt like there is something being looked at. You know, but I get to see a 36-bedroom house from, you know, my dog walk. I don't know how they get 36 cars there, but, you know, they got 36 bedrooms. Anyway, but I do like the fact that we look at what we're presenting people on the beach. You know, we have a lot of renters come in here and they're trying to get to the beach. And I think if we make them nice, make them a good entryway, it will go a long way to increasing our way people look at their time here. It would also be nice if we had some more public areas on the other side of the highway. You know, I come over here and it's just lovely. But I realize that you don't, it requires space, it requires land. And I don't know how much land Kill Devil Hills owns over there. I was surprised when the car wash went up. I went, oh, we own that. But if y'all would keep that in mind, that we want to keep a beautiful beach, we want to make it inviting for the people to come. We want them to know where they can go to the beach. I think we'd go a long way. And if we could get that crosswalk at Oregon Avenue, I'd be very happy. Then I'd just go for a few other things. But thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we are aligned in that. I think for many years we've talked about these exact subjects. And anybody who's known me a long time knows that what drum I bang the most is beautification. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. That if it looks nice, and people treat things nice, and then all the businesses will do better, and everybody will collect more taxes. It's a virtuous cycle. Anybody else in the audience want to bring up another new topic? Anybody? Anybody on the board? Anything else you want to?
I'll just thank everybody for participating in public forum. You don't get too many opportunities where you can just have a casual conversation about serious topics. It's nice to remove all the structural pieces of a board meeting and just have an open conversation. Dennis, I think timing can be an asset, and doing this advocacy for Fourth and Fifth Street beach access is why we're just getting ready to start our, improvement plans and long-term planning for all of beach accesses in the Outer Banks is kind of keep that front of mind, and we can maybe give them a little, they'll be considered. So that's a good job, by yourself advocating for your beach accesses in your neighborhood. So thank you. And same thing for our friends in Oregon Street. So, but we like participation, and we want public forums to really have a positive output. So thank you all.
You probably already know this too, but the Outer Banks Surfrider Foundation's chapter of a national organization has a program where you can adopt beach access as a group or family or individual. And I saw a post the other day that they are reevaluating all of the adoptee or adopters, what do you call the parents. So folks that have not been keeping their beaches clean will not be renewed. And so some of those beach accesses will be open for adoption. And the only really requirement is that you clean them at least 8 times a year. And that when you clean, you fill out a form that they have to, am I getting this right? They have to catalog the kinds of trash that you might collect. They want to know how much is a cigarette butt and how many are other things. So that data helps with a lot of.
And it now costs $50.
And now there's a fee, yes, $50 in order to adopt. But you get a little sign that says so and so adopted it, and that same deal. I have one that I go next to the Ramada, and I'm not sure who has adopted that, but definitely toying with doing it myself because I think I do a better job. Since it's my, you feel like it's your neighborhood, right?
Free with your firemen.
Yes.
Little hills that are here. And I know they, in fact, that last fire that took a family of 3 was terrible. And actually, I accessed a emergency exit out of my back window with hanging stairs and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So I think it's very reactive to the county, and I'll talk to them after in reference to the snow requirements. And thank Man in the Blue.
Yes.
The last thing, real quickly, if it's possible, maybe no dogs allowed from so-and-so to so-and-so, because we have a lot of dogs on the beach during the summertime.
When you say so and so, you mean year, dates or hours? You mean dates?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is limited, right?
Yeah.
From 9 o'clock in the morning until
Till
6
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
It's listed as you walk over. I'm a dog owner. I read that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and our lifeguards do enforce that. Yeah. So, and there were a lot of dog owners. for
Also,
sure.
bring your dog to the splash pad.
Yeah, that's right. We
On
got
the
the
12th.
splash pad.
October 12th, splash
This is
pad
what
at
is that
noon.
This Thursday.
Day after tomorrow, yeah, Thursday, right? So last day of the splash pad for dogs. And then I guess we pressure wash all the fur up later. Right. Get one last clean for the year. Yeah, I'll reiterate what you said. Thanks to our guys that serve, and we know that it was a challenging. There's always challenging stuff, and I think at last 4 or 5 public events, people got called away 3 out of 4 times. But that particular one I know was super challenging, and we appreciate what you go through to deal with that. And thanks for keeping the speeders down. We got to keep an eye on this guy's street, and it's one thing at a time. But I think we're wrapping it up. But I thank you guys for coming out. Really appreciate it. We will definitely incorporate all your thoughts into our planning as we go forward. And we have public comment every meeting, beginning and end. So technically, do I have to say it again? No, I guess that counts as our last one, right? That's how we do that.
We're done.
Would anybody like to do the honors?
Move to adjourn.
If they all say it at the same time, I vote.
We don't even have to vote.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to look over at the frog pond and see the pink
The big
Oh, the-
ribbon,
yeah,
yes.
the
Let's go
ribbon.
take a picture.
Buildings and Grounds is put up for us. Very lovely.
Got it. Good job.